I am going to show you how to get unlimited seller leads for free right now. One of the biggest challenges of being a real estate agent is connecting with people who are looking to sell their home, but who are not already working with an agent. Now, as a real estate agent, there are 2 resources available to you right now that you can use to connect with sellers. And these are the Zillow for sale by owner pages and the MLS expired listings pages. If you're brand new and you're looking to get listings right away, these are 2 lists of people that you can literally start calling today to try and close business. Now, of course, the majority of agents are aware of these 2 resources, and these sellers are getting bombarded by calls every single day from agents looking to sign listing agreements with them. So it is not going to be a cakewalk to differentiate yourself from these people and get them to sign an agreement. But there are 4 keys to this process that if you do the right way, you will be head and shoulders above 99% of your competition, and you will start to convert these leads. And the best part is, if you take the time to practice and develop your skills, this is the skill of selling. And if you can convert these leads, you are literally never going to go hungry in your life, because this is a skill that you can take with you in any aspect of your life to make money. So first, let's take a look at where you can find these lists, and then we'll talk about how you're going to convert them. Zillow.com, you've all been here before. You're going to go to buy, and then you're going to go to for sale by owner. These are all people who are trying to sell their house currently, and they are not working with a realtor. So you can work in any boundary you want. I suggest starting with the neighborhood that you live in, because you know the most about this area and you can provide more value to the people you're speaking with. Now, one key thing is when you make these calls, make sure you're tracking who you've already called, because it can get very confusing and convoluted if you're not tracking it. So create a simple spreadsheet and write down the addresses of people you've already spoken with. But these are all free seller leads available to you right now. Second resource, you're going to go to your MLS. Obviously, this will look different depending on what state you're in. I'm in Georgia. Regardless of what state you're in, there should be a section in your MLS near where the hot sheets are that says expireds. Okay, every day for most MLSs, you can see things like new listings, price decreases, price increases, and then expireds. These are people who attempted to sell their home but did not succeed. They probably would still like to sell, and they probably want a new realtor. Now, the caveat with expireds is that you don't have their contact info. You do have the address, so you will need to take one more step in order to reach out to these people. You can select all the people you want, and you can export this list into a spreadsheet, okay? Then you're going to need to skip trace this spreadsheet. Skip tracing is when you take an address and you find out the contact information for the person who owns that property. There's a lot of skip tracing services. I've pulled up one called Batch Skip Tracing. It's about 20 cents a result. So, it's not that expensive, but it does have a cost. If you're very low on your marketing budget, start with FSBOs, because these are completely free. Once you have some success with FSBOs, then you can very easily afford to pay for skip tracing. So it's not expensive, but there is an extra step for expired listings. So there you have it. 2 lists, FSBOs and expireds, of people who are looking to sell their home and are not currently working with a realtor. All right, so now you know where to find a list of sellers who are not working with agents that you can start calling to get your first pieces of business. But how do you differentiate yourself from the hundreds of other agents who are calling these people trying to do the same thing that you're doing? Honestly, there are a lot of factors, but the single biggest factor is your mindset. Cold calling FSBOs and expireds can be incredibly soul crushing, to be honest. You're going to get rejected constantly. And very often people quit after only a few days of attempting to cold call. You see, what happens is realtors will spend a few hours each day calling the people on these lists, and the majority of these people are going to be upset that you're calling them. You're going to get hung up on, you're going to get cursed out. You're basically going to be told never to call these people again. And when this happens day after day, this is what causes a lot of people to quit. And they quit because they think they're doing something wrong, because they think that the people who hang up on them or curse them out are the people that they are trying to convert. But here is your first key to converting this business. The people you are trying to convert are not the people that are upset that you're calling them. You see, when you make these calls, most of them will tell you to get lost, but there will be about 5 to 10% of these people who will have a conversation with you. They will at least answer some of your questions, and they will give you some more insight into what their motivation is. And so the first key to closing this business is understanding that you are trying to convert these people, the people that are willing to talk with you. This way, hopefully, you're not getting as discouraged by these people who are telling you to get lost, because really what you're doing is weeding through this list to talk with the people who are at least willing to have a conversation with you. So, now that we're only focused on the people who will actually talk with you, your second key is to find their motivation. You want to understand why they're trying to sell their home. Anyone trying to sell their home has a goal in mind. They have a dream outcome in mind, right? They may be trying to upgrade their home for an expanded family. They might be trying to downgrade for empty nesting. But anyone who is trying to sell their home by themselves, for sale by owner, or who attempted to sell their home but was not able to sell it, expired listings, they had an idea in their mind of the perfect outcome. And your second key of this process is to find out as much as you can about what their ideal outcome was. So once you've connected with these people who are willing to have a conversation with you, all of your questions should be discovery questions. Well, what were you gonna do if you did sell your house? Where would you be moving to? Why would you be doing that? So this is a skill that you develop over time and that you write out with scripts that can get more effective over time. So whatever your script is, the goal should be the same. You are trying to have a natural conversation and get as much insight and information about what their dream outcome was as you possibly can. And you can be very straightforward about this. A lot of times when I cold call, I'll ask them, what is your dream outcome of selling your home? Because once you have this information, your job will be to convince this person that you are the best person that they can hire to accomplish their dream outcome. So let's talk about the third key, okay? Key number 1 was only worry about the people who are willing to speak with you. Key number 2 is find motivation from these people. And key number 3 is going to be following up and providing value. Now listen, for your mindset, it is very rare that you are going to set a listing appointment on your first call to these people. Cold calling, like most other forms of lead generation, is a long-term game of follow-up. And I want you to understand a very important statistic, which is that the majority of salespeople quit after the 4th follow-up with a prospect. But the majority of sales that are converted on the 4th or later call. So to get you in the correct mentality, all you have to do is outlast your competition past that 4th contact. Now, how do you follow up and provide value? Well, if you got more information about their motivation, that should give you some insight in how you can provide value. For instance, if they told you they were interested in moving to another neighborhood or even a specific community, you can provide some insight and information about that neighborhood. You're going to have to use some of your own imagination and intelligence to figure out what this looks like, but it should be fairly obvious to you if you're having good conversations with these people. So if you can simply follow up once a week for at least 4 weeks, once you get past that 4th week, you are greatly increasing your odds that they are going to say yes to you getting a listing appointment. Now, this brings up a crucial point to this whole process, and this is a big mistake that I made at first when I was cold calling people. I was under the mentality that all I was trying to do was preview their home and, continue that step in the process. And so I would tell these people, look, I have a buyer interested in your home. Can I come preview it? Now, I'm not saying that could never work, but the reality is these people are not interested in having a listing meeting with you, okay? They think that you have a buyer and that's how they're going to look at you. And if you don't have actually a buyer for them, you're not going to be any closer to doing business with them. So although telling people that you have a buyer is a very easy way to get inside their house, to tour it and to continue the conversation, you're much better off being very blunt and direct right from the start. You want to tell them that your goal is to provide them value, and when the time comes, should it come, that they decide to interview agents to sell their home, you would like a shot at interviewing, okay? You're going to be upfront and direct, and that's very reasonable. You're telling them you want to keep in touch and provide value, and God forbid they can't sell it themselves, which they probably won't. All you want to do is a chance at an interview. So although you will definitely hear more no's up front using this approach, it will be much more effective than lying to them and telling them you have a buyer who's interested in their house. Now, this brings us to the fourth and final key of this process, and that is you have to have a killer listing presentation. Because once you get the appointment, this is going to be what differentiates you from the other agents who probably will be interviewing. Now, I may do a video in the future about how to do a great listing presentation, but don't overthink this. Whatever brokerage you're at, whatever your team they're on, they probably, I hope they do, have some form of a decent listing presentation. And trust me when I say it's a lot less important how good the actual listing presentation script is. It's more important how well you know the script, how comfortable you are delivering it and connecting with those people. So don't waste too much of your time trying to find the perfect presentation. Simply find a presentation that has worked for other agents in your office or area and know it by heart. Practice it. Practice it going into someone's home and doing it, whether it's a family or friend who's just allowing you to act it out. You've got to practice it weekly, probably even daily. And again, this is an invaluable skill. I want you to think bigger term than just closing one deal. Honestly, there are very few real estate agents who deliver powerful listing presentations. So just like you're developing the skills of being a great salesperson by cold calling, you're developing the skill of having a great listing presentation if you practice one of these scripts, and that is going to make you a lot of money for the rest of your career. So, we showed you where to find lists of sellers through FSBOs and expireds on Zillow and then the MLS, and we talked about 4 keys to converting these leads. The first key is do not worry about the people who are blowing you off and not wanting to talk with you. Worry about the people who are willing to converse with you. The second key is when you're talking to the people who are willing to speak with you, find out what their motivation is. Find out what their dream outcome is. The third key is following up and providing value. You need to plan on following up more than 4 times, at least 5 times. I don't want you to get discouraged if you reach out twice and you don't have a listing appointment yet, okay? You have to be in the mindset of this is a long haul. You are running a marathon against your competition. And the fourth key is once you get a listing appointment, because these people are tired of trying to sell their home themselves, you have to have a killer listing presentation. And look, you might not get the first listing appointment you get, right? You might lose out the first few, but it is a huge win for you to even set that listing appointment. If you're getting to the point where you're finding the people you want to talk to and you're doing well enough to stay in touch to where they say yes to a listing agreement, you are already ahead of like 98% of the people you're competing with, right? So that last key will just be simply the reps, the experience of delivering your listing presentation. And once you get that first yes, you are on your way, because you're going to know how to set these appointments and you're going to get better and better at delivering the presentation. And this is how you turn these free leads into unlimited listings. So I hope that made sense and provided you value, and I hope you're excited about the potential here. If you really want to close business, if you really want to accomplish your goals and dreams, if you really want to make a lot of money, these people are waiting for you to help them. But you have to get over the fear of rejection, and you have to understand what the objective is throughout this process. So go out there, start making your calls today, start working on your listing presentation, and go crush it. Thanks for watching, and until my next video, I'll see you next time.